At the courtyard of Allen B. Polunsky Unit in Livingstone, Texas, Jim Rhodes is handed a phone by a guard. At the same time, Tony Stark is handed one by a butler at a Hellfire Club party, where Tony has become the new Black King while pretending to have retired and fallen off the wagon. They quickly realize none of them called the other. Prisoners begin to encircle Rhodey just as Fei Long arrives at the club. Tony charges toward him, deducing this to be his doing. Kingpin intercepts Stark, just as Rhodey is saved at the courtyard by the sudden appearance of Sandman and a fellow inmate, a power inhibitor-wearing Arthur Parks, who got himself arrested to protect Rhodey on Fisk's behalf. In a flashback to weeks ago, during their first meeting at the Hellfire Club, Fisk wasn't budging to Tony's demand that he helped Rhodey in exchange for help with his wife until Emma Frost told him that he needed to ask for it. Tony conceded begrudgingly, and Fisk assented. Back at the party in the present, Tony is discussing with Fisk his need to keep Fei Long alive when he notices Emma arriving at the scene in her Hazel Kendall disguise. She spots Fei Long, and Tony intercepts her before she can remove her inhibitor ring to attack him. Tony takes her to a private room and tries to convince her not to overtly attack Fei Long since he needs information out of his head. She kneels him in the groin, knocking him on his knees. She drops the ring, and Tony picks it up, imploring Emma to keep her word. Fei Long enters the room looking for Tony just as Emma has turned around, so it looks like Tony is proposing to her. After telepathically agreeing to Tony's plan, Stark and Hazel play along. She accepts Tony's proposal and they kiss. Back at the party, Tony pretends to extend an olive branch to Fei Long but denies him an invitation to his wedding, knowing that's exactly what he needs to ensure his attendance. After discreetly bickering while posing for cameras, Tony and Emma head to Las Vegas to marry, where they act as a couple in public. At night in a motel room, Tony suits up in the Mark Nil and parts ways with Emma, still unsure whether they will commit to the fake wedding. He breaks into the secret lab of Zeke Stain and destroys its security drones before securing a machine that builds other machines, the reason for making Las Vegas his destination. He fastens the machine to a truck, which Deadpool will take to the Morlock tunnels. The following day, Tony swaps his armor for a red and black tuxedo and heads to a chapel called Gamble of Love. He's awestruck when he steps in and sees Hazel at the altar, and realizes he has fallen for Emma. As planned, Fei Long barges in to see the wedding through. With the stage set, Emma removes her ring and telepathically links herself and Tony's mind to Fei Long's. They metaphorically burst through a wall into his mind, Tony clad in his Model 1 armor and Emma wearing her classic lingerie costume. Setting the mindscape to Fei Long's memory of watching Howard Stark's tapes, Emma downloads all of Fei Long's knowledge on the Sentinels while Tony watches the recording, mesmerized by seeing his father again despite their rough history. After the recording is done, Fei Long struggles and knocks down Tony, but Emma submits him. She opens his skull like a jar to take a deeper look. Tony and her discover that, in truth, both of Fei Long's parents were mutants, and he resented them for being born a human despite their unconditional love, which contradicts the story he professes that they abandoned him. Tony leaves Fei Long's fate in Emma's hands, and she contemplates killing him, but hesitates and plugs his crown back into place, only ensuring that he won't remember their intrusion. Tony and Emma walks away from Fei Long's mindscape and return to the real world. The officiant pronounces Tony and Hazel husband and wife and they kiss, and Fei Long watches, none the wiser. As they leave the chapel, Fei Long offers Tony a position within Orcus to save face. Tony and Hazel leave the chapel by car, and she tells Stark about the mutant metal mysterium, which seems to be the theoretical metal Howard was talking about in his tapes. She assures Tony that they can mine more of it if they can get off-world, and wonders how much Stark will need. Tony tells her all of it,